Okay, so this is CLM5034, Principles of Teaching and Learning, and we are covering the topic on critical metrics of teaching and learning. So I'm just going to show you the slides, and I think a copy of the slides is also available in just one sec. Okay, are you able to see the full screen?
Not yet, doctor. Not yet.
Fail to start. It doesn't allow me to share for some reason. I'm just going to do this. Here. Okay. Right, sorry about that. Are you guys clear about this one? The conceptions of aspects of conceptions, how our actions and beliefs and intentions are interrelated, in that it affects the way that we deliver what we're teaching. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, okay.
That's okay. This one, yeah? I think this is the one that you want to know about, yes?
Yes, and also another one, the one that have a flow chart one.
Oh, okay. That one's a bit later. Okay. Right. This is essentially what I want you to take away from the topic. I'll give you a scenario, yeah. All these things are basically helping us understand how do we perceive what we know and how we execute that in the way that we teach. So again, it goes back to that triangle just now, the actions and beliefs, and also your intended activities. How do you actually what you call it, execute your instruction? So on the top bit here is about the conceptions of teaching, which means we move in this so-called categories. Yeah, I wouldn't say these categories are fixed and it's not changeable. It is, and obviously it moves over time and all, but it gives us a little bit of an idea of how we understand what we know, and how do we translate that into what we expect our students to be able to know as well. So when we come into teaching, normally we use what we have been taught. Yeah. So a lot of people who um, you know become experts in their field, they come to the teaching field using what they see as they have learned through their own experience. So knowledge is seen as something which is absolute. Yeah, it is provided maybe through textbooks, maybe through learning materials, things that you already know that it exists. Okay, so going from there, we move towards a more multiple perspective way of looking at the discipline. When we start interacting with other people, we start to read a bit more, we start to do research. So the way that we look at things obviously will become bigger and more varied. Yeah. And we move to the third square here, which is the awareness of knowledge as provisional. Is that when we realize that not a whole lot of people can actually understand everything, and people how to say, yeah, um, they will take time in terms of understanding things. And I think we see this as we move along in our conversations. Yeah. And this is particularly important when especially we want to grow the knowledge in our subject matter. There will be a point where we go like this there's only certain things that you know people, a certain group of people will be able to understand something. And there will be these categories of what you call it, different levels of understanding. And we will get there when we know that we have to grow that knowledge with our own ethics and our identities. Yeah. So this is where, when we move towards a more relativism sort of perspective, this is where we start looking for ways to create knowledge that is more, how to say, diversified, and it's more advanced than where we started. And we want to do something bigger and better, yeah, with the subject matter that we have. Noticeably, this one is something that we will eventually cross when we're doing our PhDs, for instance. Yeah. Or you are mentoring people at the PhD level. So this is where we start to ask for more, or we will demand for a more advanced way of looking at the subject matter that we are claiming expertise in. And towards that, you embody the the knowledge that you have. Yeah. So this is the commitment to personal reasoned perspectives and stuff like that. I'll give an example, like Azani, she's been teaching for a while, and even the way that she carries out her interactions with people, she always leads back to what she's doing in her courses, and also in the what do you call it, the subject matter that she's working on, which is marine science. And it continuously goes back, and it becomes her identity as well, and even the way that she lives and all that. So it embodies your, I guess, personal identity, as a human being. And as an instructor, as a teacher, as an educator, we carry this in the way that we talk to our students. So our students come into here, if I can get your focus on this bit, and the squares on the bottom part of the page. Now, a lot of students come into us. They just want to acquire what is it's going to come out in the exam. Just tell me what you want us to remember. Just tell us like how many questions is going to appear in the exam. So this is them. Kalau Bloom's taxonomy, they're just interested in the first three levels. Yeah, the comprehension, the knowledge comprehension, and also perhaps a little bit of analysis. They just want to know what is it that they need to learn in order to exit the class. Yeah. So they will acquire factual information, and then they will want to know what is it that they need to memorize, and what is it that will be used, yeah, in projects or experiments, or lab tasks that you want them to do. So the level of learning is essentially what is labeled here as reproducing. So they're not trying to create new knowledge. Yeah. The issue here happens when say you are here. Yeah. Your level of um, grasping your subject matter is already at a level where I want to see some evidence. I want to see how this is done by other people. I want to see if it works. I want to see if this is true or if this is false. And in my condition, is it is it going to be the same, you know? So you know, when your intellectuality is really up to that kind of level, and you come back and teach students who are at this level, this is where it becomes a gap. Yeah. And this is where the knowledge um, may not be transmitted in a way that it is effective. Yeah. um, Effective in a sense of it's probably not going to be something that you will find enriching for yourself. Yeah, because you're already at a level which is much higher than the students. um, but the students will also feel the gap because they feel that they cannot communicate with you as an instructor. Yeah. So in a case of, I guess, many of you who are just coming in first time teaching, this is probably your first teaching job, you know, perhaps you are still here. Yeah, where knowledge you think is still something that, oh, I need to find a textbook for my course, you know, I need to find certain materials that will fit just enough for my course, you know, those kind of things. Jadi kalau ini, kalau kita what you call it, compare with what students are needing at this point in time, so this is fine. Yeah, for them it would be like, as long as I have the textbook, as long as I'm reading what my instructor is reading, then I should be fine, because I think I can guess what the assessments are going to be like. Yeah, because it's based on a certain set of books. um, when you start to question more and more, yeah, of the things that students would be what do you call it, developing in terms of their cognitive ability. Yeah. So they will they will not feel it is enough if you are still here. Yeah, say katakanlah the students are here already, where they want to seek meaning, they want to understand what is being learned, they want to see things in different ways. This is normally what we see in students who are going through the postgraduate. um, some postgraduates, not all. You know, they are those who will be needing, you know, why are we studying it in the way that we're looking at it right now? For instance, can we see it in a different perspective? Are there any input that we can see from other fields that may inform the way that we understand this subject matter that we're looking at? So these kind of students will require your level of knowledge to at least at this bit. Yeah, at least at this at the what do you call it, evidence based, ataupun your commitment is much higher, yeah, towards your subject matter. So in that sense, then it will be a rewarding experience for your students, because they will see that you know, my instructor, my educator, my supervisor is able to see beyond what is commonly done in within that field. So you know, if you're lucky, you're going to get a lot of students who are like this, you know. Inshallah, perhaps in the next few years or so, we'll get more and more students who are hungry for you know, this curiosity to look for things which is different, and perhaps contest the nature of inquiry in within your discipline. And obviously this will establish, yeah, the formation of our own self identity, you know, as an educator, as a person who knows things, because it will obviously be embedded in the way that we talk to people, the way that we use examples in our conversations, the way that we contextualize our conversations. So all that embodies the things that we have professed. So that's why, you know, the highest level in academia is a professor, because you profess what you know and what you understand and what you teach and how you do research and stuff like that. So it is a sense of identity that you want to reach at. You know, tak ada yang, I think, professors yang sepatutnya lah, ya, yang tak tahu apa yang dia ajar, oh tak sayang apa yang dia ajar, ataupun macam tahu sikit-sikit je, sepatutnya tidak lah, ya. Sepatutnya at that level, you already have that identity that people can see from you, that if I look at Ezra, for instance, Ezra is good in, subject X, and dia akan bercakap tentang dia dengan passion, dengan apa nama, dengan commitment, and we can see from the way that dia jalankan projects, for instance. So how do we get there? It's a process lah, yeah. So, I don't think kita boleh jump from one phase kepada another phase kepada another phase. The reason why I thought this is something which is important to understand, especially for you who are just starting your teaching career, is that there are stages to achieve, like in your career, your teaching career, your academic career, and all this will contribute towards your expertise in the field, yeah, your expertise in your subject matter. And that's reason why saya selalu pesan, you pick and choose mana yang you rasa will benefit you. Ya, jangan say yes to all research grants yang orang ajak suruh you masuk. Jangan say yes to every Tom, Dick and Harry that comes and knocking to your door. Pick the ones that will build you. Yeah, pick the ones that will make you become more aware, more stronger, in your field itself. Yeah, because all that akan affect this. Yeah, your learners coming in here, and you don't want students to just pass through. You want them to go through the university education with at least a sense of, oh, I've learned this in this course because I was triggered by the passion of the educator, by the way the educator talks about what he or she knows, and will carry it forward in perhaps other things in their own lives. You want people to grow and fly after they've gone studying with you. So all these things are apa nama, I guess if you talk to people from economics, they will say this is a circular economy code. Yeah, what you put, you get it back lah. Yeah, through your conversations and interactions with your students. Does that make sense? Yo Yong, does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So that gap is, I think, what I would like for you to recognize first. Yeah, I've met with many young lecturers, just as you through this PGD program, especially, yang mana bila masuk mengajar akan maybe cari orang lain punya nota, cari textbook. Ada juga yang apa tu, beli textbook yang ada CD yang dah siap nota dalam tu pun ada. Yeah, and this is that level. Yeah, knowledge as an absolute provided by somebody else lah, not you. Yeah, but you want to grow and nurture your knowledge supaya it becomes you. The knowledge should actually becomes you. Yeah, and for you to want to be patient for students who are just here, perhaps, yang mana yang maybe coming in, they don't have perhaps the level of intellectual capacity that you would like, tapi they are in your program, they're in your class, they're in your the cohort that you're teaching, apa nama, but they're struggling even perhaps just to acquire the factual information. So these things akan menjadi issues, yeah, yang you need to be aware of when you are in the classroom. Not all students are going to seek meaning. Yeah, not all students are going to be here. They want to really understand what they are learning. Tidak. Yeah, but as lecturers, we have the responsibility to at least try to get them there, to at least find something that they like and can motivate them to want to know more about the subject matter. So teaching it in the way that you make it apa nama a conscious process for them that this whatever that they're learning is something really really important, and that they must know it and they must really understand it very well. Yeah, so that is the kind of transmission, I guess, in some sense that you want to hope for in your classes. Okay, you guys are so quiet in the afternoon. Anybody want to ask any questions? Is this too much for 2 o'clock on Sunday?
Doktor, okay, just want to ask, sebab saya lebih baru masuk, so dia lebih kepada yang first punya kotak tu lah, kolom tu. Tapi what if we find that, of course lah kita akan cari the previous punya notes semua kan?
Yeah.
Untuk kita punya teaching assignment. Tapi what if we found out that the notes, the apa notes tu adalah salah. Apa yang tu macam mana doktor? Saya macam what if kita tengok notes yang previous notes tu adalah salah.
Betul kan?
Tapi dah terlepas lah, macam another cohort dah terlepas lah benda tu.
Apa, so, cohort baru buat baru.
Okay.
Ya, yeah. Senang je tu. Buat cohort baru buat baru. Because again kita punya intellectual capacities berbeza from one person to another, you know. There are some people yang perhaps they do not want to tolerate this idea of trying to look for, you know, apa nama, evidences yang mana it can make whatever that you're teaching to become more apa nama not just presentable, it's meyakinkan lah, ya. Some people don't want to go overboard, jadi dia akan copy paste lah daripada mana-mana, ya. Banyak terjadilah Suhana, bukan satu faculty je, banyak faculty yang berlaku macam ni.
Okay.
Yes, saya banyak dengar cerita, and saya sendiri pun pernah tengok lah, ya. Jadi don't feel bad if you feel that there are things that apa nama, memang obviously wrong. Correct it. Maybe at that point in time, you know, when the person was teaching the course, dia ada masalah lain yang kita tak tahu, you know. So just give benefit of the doubt lah, ya. Jadi kadang-kadang ada people mengajar under pressure, ada juga yang macam young ones like you lah masuk faculty, orang bagi khusus yang memang everybody in the faculty tak nak mengajar, you know. So there are a lot of those instances lah, ya. Jadi kadang-kadang that's why bila dah dipaksa kan, orang tak nak betul-betul mengajar, you know. Jadi dia copy paste lah. Saya pernah apa nama, jumpa students lah complain, kata apa, lecturers ambil daripada, you know, the free slides, you know, presentations. Kadang-kadang kan ada lecturers dia upload slides kan, jadi ada some free ones online, sebiji dia ambil, you know, and then no acknowledgement at all, and then memang tak ada usaha lah untuk perbaiki ke, nak make it make it into the local, you know, context. Tak ada, you know, just baca je, literally just baca saja. Memang ada. Jadi pelajar sekarang pun dah pandai. Jadi you know, before, you know, you get caught teaching something which is wrong, I would rather that you change it lah to the one that you know. Kalau tak sure, tanya experts, and experts tu mungkin bukan dalam Unimas, dekat tempat lain. So don't be afraid to ask lah.
Okay, noted. Noted, doktor. Thank you.
Biasa tu Suhana, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you doktor.
Lagi soalan? Mervin, are you there? Mervin?
He replied on the chat box, doctor.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Mervin, you're coming from the industry, kan? How long were you working in the industry?
Yes, Dr. Fitri. Yeah, I'm coming from the industry. Yeah.
Yeah. Berapa lama ya? How many years were you in it?
I think 10 years though. 10 years already.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, I want to use you as an example, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
Mervin.
can?
All right.
Can?
Um, masa when Mervin work apa in the industry, um, teaching is not perhaps one of the things that is embedded in your job scope lah, kan? But I'm sure through your interactions, you do meet with younger staff as they come along, and you have to teach them things. Betul?
Yep,
Okay.
correct. Especially with the intern and trainees around. Actually, there are a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. In when you come into the academic career, apa nama, the teaching has got to be a bit more formalized. So this is where your knowledge from the industry becomes a gem, like
Mm.
it's like a diamond lah yang you can actually use, because you are not essentially here. If you look at what I'm showing here, yeah, your knowledge, you know that it's not absolute. You already know that because you've already used it. Yeah.
Mm.
And you when you are working in the industry, you already see multiple things. You have to accept multiple ways of how people perceive your work, your ideas, I'm sure. Betul
Yep.
tak?
Yep, betul.
So ya, tapi yang Mervin tak ada lagi lah, yang I think lah, is how do you translate that? How do you transmit that to your students when they come into your class? Because you have this whole wealth of knowledge, of doing things. You're more
Mm.
practical than a lot more people here. Tapi that translation of how do I put this together, in that when my students, they come in, they only want, what is it going to come out in the exam? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Correct, correct.
yeah. Do you feel frustrated with that, Mervin? Can I ask?
Not really, because I'm a student. Maybe I'm a student before, so
Yeah.
I know the struggles, and then I know where for example, when they are first year, I know their limits are in first year, in second year, I know their limits. So I will not give something that they cannot bear.
Yeah.
Some heavy load or burden that they cannot bear.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I mean, I put myself in their position, lah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's very good of you. That is empathy. Yeah, that what you're using there is empathy.
yeah.
Up to a point, nanti Mervin, when you go a bit further into the career, sometimes when students struggle even with the basic things, you find it frustrating. Yeah,
Hmm.
particularly bila kita dah sampai dekat sini, where you go like, I want to see how you're doing it. I want to see the process of you working on this,
Hmm.
and
Correct.
that you have worked on this for a number of times, that this is the best version that you're showing to me, you know
Yeah.
so bila you dah sampai dekat that part, and then students masuk dekat you, dia nak facts je. Dia kata, just tell me what is it you want.
Yeah.
This is where the gap is.
Yep.
You
Yep.
faham maksud saya, Mervin?
Yep. Yep.
Ah,
Yep.
so that's why kadang-kadang we have to apa nama, sort of maybe take one or two steps back,
Yep.
just to get the students to say, okay, I know that this is the only thing that you want, but I would
Mm.
like it if you put a little bit more interest, or your motivation is a little bit higher on whatever
Mm.
that they need to be learning, and that takes our commitment lah as an educator.
Yep.
Ya,
Correct.
jadi that's why kita ada belief yang we don't how to say, we don't become easily macam frustrated lah with students.
Mm. Yep.
Jangan rasa macam, oh, sekali dia orang tak dapat, therefore forget it lah, gone case. The rest of the class is just going to get a B. You know what I mean? There are a lot of people who are like that. Yeah, yang mana dia tak ada empathy, macam what Mervin was talking about tadi, dia tak ada empathy. Jadi bila students masuk, dia kata, oh, the A is just for me, the rest tak payahlah. Don't even try to work hard lah, you're just going to get the B the most. Jadi with that, students jadi macam, kalau dia ada minat sikit pun terus mati dah minat tu. So you don't want to kill that motivation lah, in some sense.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. True.
So yeah, just to show you guys lah that this thing will grow, yeah, over time, and there will be things that you will be able to tolerate, and there will be things that you will not be able to tolerate, and this will become, I guess, your identity as an academic, in some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of, there are a lot of different range of students. They are high, medium, low. So it's always the high one. You put them, they'll be proactive. No matter what, they you don't have to really guide them. They'll automatically do become a good student. It's
Yes.
only the weak one. Normally, what I see is that they cannot see a very beautiful, because I'm in architecture, a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm not in a subject where we are exam based, so ABC. So we are architecture, we do studios, we do beautiful models, drawings. So the lousy one or the weak one, they don't have motivation because they always see their work very lousy, not beautiful. So once I put them in a work, or I teach them, or I draw for them, they'll see, or I put some effort, or we as a lecturer put some effort to help them to do a very beautiful stuff, and they can see their potential out. Actually they have this kind of especially some good work. I put the weak one with the good one. When they combine the final outcome, they can see that they can produce something beautiful.
Yeah.
Then in that sense, there becomes a little bit motivation. Hey, actually I can do something nice also.
Yeah.
So from there, actually they can pick up a little bit of interest that, hey, actually I can do something beautiful.
Yeah.
If I want to. So that is how I actually our strategy actually to help the weak one, because some of the weak ones really keep quiet one. They don't even text you. You get what I mean? They don't even want to text you, or they don't even want to ask you. And then yet their result is so weak, and then their things is so weak when they don't want to ask. So that's how we put them in the group work, that they can actually learn among their peers.
Yeah.
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 That's a very good effort, Mervin, and you should keep it up. Only that I need to caution you. Sometimes it can be frustrating for the good students to.
Correct. They
Yeah.
always complain. Yeah. They
Yeah.
always complain. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes I even had to create a different rubric, for the
Oh.
the better students, because their motivation is different. They articulate already, and for whatever reason, the minat memang dah ada. It's not hard to push them, like what you said lah, yeah, sebab it's already, internal. Yang the ones who get by ini yang kadang-kadang, when you assign to the good ones, after a while they get exhausted. They get exhausted to carry their friends.
Correct.
So I have had to create a different rubrics for the
Oh.
assessment. Yeah, so their A is actually not equal to an A for the weaker ones.
But how can you do that in a CLO? I mean, I thought the rubric should be all the same throughout the semester, or it should be fair when we do assessment.
Yeah, fair is MQA fair.
Oh.
Yeah. Usually the students who are brighter, you spend a bit more time to sort of explain to them, like where they can push themselves to a level where they can attain. You don't want to frustrate them too much, you know what I mean, in the process. Kadang-kadang, ada juga yang I've seen good students, and after a while they, you know you're just as good as your friends lah, you know what I mean. So bila dia dicampur dengan pelajar yang tak begitu motivated, they actually get demotivated as well. I've seen that already. So that's why kadang-kadang when I see that there are students who are a bit more, how to say, they can handle it. It's worth just having one-to-one with them, and
Oh, okay.
just tell them that you are doing so much better than your peers, and I want you to consider this. You can give them extra things that you think they are able to achieve, and they appreciate that, and they are more, I think, thankful of that experience, because they feel that
Okay.
they can connect with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So try it lah. I mean, it worked in my class, and a few classes already I've done that, and that's why like, I notice yang mana pelajar yang apa tu gifted they appreciate that extra attention. Jadi I do tell them that don't worry about the grades. It's not, it's just secondary, and they can develop much better than others. And true enough, these are the students yang dia minta internship mana-mana will get it immediately.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Try it. Let us know.
betul. Okay,
Yes, saya.
I agree dengan Melvin. Dia bagi category to the student low, medium, high.
Yeah.
But sama juga I have also dia punya I have a problem to teach sebab masa first year I mengajar first year, so kita ada banyak entrance punya ni kan, ada yang daripada STP, ada yang daripada STPM, ada yang pada Prayu, so we can see the gap. Okay, and the lower one dia tak tahu pun nak buat assignment tu macam mana. We need to teach them daripada A to Z. Kalau macam kata school feed tu memang dah lebih-lebih pun dah rasanya. So tapi in order to sebab gap dia terlalu jauh bagi saya, terlalu jauh daripada yang pelajar yang baru masuk yang tak pernah buat assignment dengan Prayu yang selalu buat assignment masa during Prayu tu. So in order to balance semua ni, saya memang ada masalah. Saya tak boleh nak fokus. Sebab in dalam kelas yang mana macam Mary cakap, yang mana low tu memang dia akan diam, dia memang takkan tanya. So kita kena, saya takut diorang ketinggalan kan, sebab kita dah setengah sem dah sekarang ni. So kena fokus lebih kat diorang. Tapi dalam masa yang sama kena mengajar semua orang juga, kena macam sama rata. So saya betul-betul ada masalah dekat situ. Saya tak tahu macam mana nak buat itu. Dia gap dia terlalu
Obvious.
jauh.
Yeah. Dalam kita mengajar, there's 3 things yang penting. Satu ialah the input, ya, apa yang kita bagi, apa yang patutnya dia orang belajar lah for the subject matter, for the topic. The second one is your guidance, ya, which is what you are teaching, physically teaching them lah, ya, bukannya untuk buat kerja, tapi the guidance itself, macam mana dia nak faham. Like what you're doing with me right now is I'm giving you guidance to understand how you can see the flow of your growth sebagai an academic. The last one is assessment. Assessment is apa yang kita nak tengok lah whether dia faham ataupun tidak, yang what I use with you dalam 5024 performances of understanding. Now input ni, kalau pelajar yang pandai, you bagi your notes, your lectures, if you're recording your lectures, itu pun dah cukup. Dia orang tahu nak baca, and they understand what they're reading. You can test if you want, to see whether how much you understand what you have assigned them to read. Usually yang weaker ones ni, you bagi bahan bacaan tapi dia tak nak baca sebab dia tak faham. Dia nak masuk, nak faham pun tak tahu macam mana nak start.
Ya, betul.
Betul tak? Jadi ini kan pula you nak suruh macam menulis, nak melukis, because all that is output tau. Bila kita suruh dia tulis, melukis, nak bina sesuatu, all that is output. Kalau input tak cukup, output macam mana? You see what I mean? So yes. It's I guess in some sense kena tengok what is it that is suitable, input suitable yang dapat diberi untuk membantu mereka to at least gain your minimal standard of output. You see what I mean?
Okay, yes.
So jangan rasa macam you have to please them. Tidak. It's not about pleasing them. You are giving them an opportunity so that they can build on the input. Kadang-kadang input kita maybe terlalu tinggi, and then if I can go back to this chart ni, maybe input kita ni textbook.
Okay.
You faham tak maksud saya? Jadi bila nak di-explain, yang kita explain tu kita ikut textbook. Jadi pelajar tak faham. Itu yang dia kadang-kadang rasa macam apa, macam mana nak masuk ni, tak faham, nak start faham pun tak tahu kat mana. You faham tak saya?
Diorang pun tak tahu nak start pada mana nak faham tu.
Exactly. So kadang-kadang dia punya apa tu, maybe starting point dia tu, you know, tak cukup. Tak cukup. Itu yang dia berulang-ulang jadi problem tu the whole semester.
Okay.
I think maybe boleh saya share sikit.
Ya, silakan. Siapa ni?
Okay. Saya Ahmad. So
Ahmad.
saya kawan Mervin.
Neighbor.
Okay, silakan,
neighbour.
silakan.
Satu
Okay.
fakulti lah. Ahmad.
Ya. Apa nama, students, kita method of teaching, saya tidak tahu yang lebih lanjut, tapi saya tahu yang kebiasaannya adalah method of teaching dengan learning. Dia bukan one way communication ataupun dia bukan a single method, dia ada banyak kan. Macam kita mendengar, membaca, melihat, memerhati, mengambil gambar, menengok progress. Jadi pembelajaran itu tidak tertakluk kepada dalam kelas sahajalah. Okey, apa yang saya rasa adalah pelajar dia belajar dengan kawan-kawan dia lebih banyak, sebab ada satu kajian tu dia cakap 40% to 60% pembelajaran yang lebih berkesan adalah di mana pelajar belajar dengan kolik dia, dengan pelajar yang lain. So dalam kelas tu mungkin 30% sebab dia orang masuk kelas, so benda tu baru kan, terlalu baru. Jadi bila dia orang dapat dari seorang pengajar yang telah lama dalam perkara tersebut, perkara ini tidak sama dengan mereka belajar sesama mereka, sebab bila dia belajar sesama pelajar, semua orang adalah pada fasa yang sama lah, lebih kurang lah maknanya. Jadi bila penerimaan sesama mereka yang ibarat lumba lari, mereka bermula dengan garisan yang sama. Jadi itu lebih mudah untuk mereka memahami, iaitu pelajar belajar dengan kawan dia berbanding dengan mereka nak memahami dalam kelas. Yelah, kena 2 jam, 3 jam nak compact kan, satu topik kan. So of course bukan kata dia, kita dulu pun lebih kurang begitu juga. Jadi saya rasa kalau kita guna kaedah pelajar belajar sesama rakan-rakan mereka, di samping juga mereka masih juga belajar dengan guru, itu mungkin boleh membantulah. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Ahmad. Memang betul. If students have good study groups, it will help them in the understanding, the comprehension process tu. It's faster. Provided that the group is made up of people who are just as similarly motivated. Yeah. They can be in groups that's yang seorang dua saja yang dominant. Ada juga, ya. Ada juga yang groups dissolve after a week. I think students ramai yang skills yang lacking ialah study skills. Yeah, because when they are in school, they are only aiming for accuracy. When we are at the university, we're not aiming for accuracy. We are looking at that, from knowing the facts, what can you do to transport this into something else. You are looking at growth. You're looking at nurturing this whole creativity and cognition and the ability to be to be able to problem solve, all these things. Jadi those things are not necessarily something that is that they are used to. Itu yang tadi Wan Suhana mention dekat bila dia masuk tu, dia macam-macam entry point kan, and how do you deal with that? Yeah, so you can share your own methods with them, cara nak belajar, cara nak belajar sesuatu, whatever topics that you are teaching. Jadi that's why people come up with formulas untuk help remember formulas and stuff like that. Many ways. A lot of people are very visual now. You can utilize that. I know there are some lecturers who have started creating their own TikTok channels to summarize what they teach after a day. Ada juga yang buat macam tu. Jadi kalau that is what your students think would be beneficial, then do it. Yeah, so up to you. Really up to you. Asal ada energy je. Ada lagi nak tanya? Nak share? Vun, Dr. Vun? Dan lagi orang architecture nak masuk? Raja, I have not heard from Raja yet. Raja, where you? Raja tak dengar lah suara.
Hello.
There you go.
Oh.
You want to add on to
Line
the
tak apa.
conversation? Yeah.
Line clear. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hello. Tak sangkut-sangkut. On my side sangkut-sangkut.
Hujan kot. It's raining right now in Kuching.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, boleh?
Yeah, silakan.
Line tak clear. Hello.
Yang putus-putus ni, Raja.
Hello. Sekejap saya try restart balik.
Yeah, Voon is she's very good. She is a psychologist, yes. And she can help interpret, definitely. I don't know whether she can read the students' minds, but she can help interpret maybe behavior and also interaction, kan, Voon? That's one of the things that we always look out for from our counseling and psychology lecturers in the faculty. Hanim can actually map your brain, Dr. Hanim sini. Hanim nak add any apa-apa?
Mungkin it's just a matter of sharing, right, Doktor?
Silakan.
Kalau macam according to the cognitive psychology punya study, they want us to teach the student. First is about the concept. Because according to the cognitive punya study, first introduce the concept to the student, then later come with the examples, the exercise, everything. So as long as when you give the explanation clear about the concept itself, then later student boleh apply lah, go to the next step lah dalam macam Dr. Fitri punya model tadi tu. First introduce student learn the knowledge, then later go to the application. So first step tu macam kita nak apa, menanamkan dia punya concept. Once the student manage to master the concept, so later on jadi senang untuk dia belajar lah. Saya just refer kepada model yang Dr. share tadi tu, yang bahagian bawah learning ni.
Absolutely. Yang the concept that you are talking about, Hanim, is what I referred to as input lah tadi. So input yang kita ajar tu kita kena describe as clearly as we can lah, and that is why it helps bila when they understand the concept properly, they would be able to use it. And kadang-kadang yang kita bagi kepada pelajar mungkin not sufficient for them to go to the application level. So if you look at my slides kejap let me show this one. Yeah, so this is the same as that graph tadi, tapi it's in a flowchart punya form. So you can see the development, and the first one they look at answers as right and wrong. Dia tak nak anything in between. Ini yang students yang masuk, yang dia nak tahu apa dia facts, what is the facts, tell me what is true and what is not, what is false and what is what is not. So and then moving on, they will start to see diversity in the way that it's not everything all black and white. There's actually gray, and how do you determine the gray? Is there any boundaries between the black and the gray, ataupun the white and the gray? So they start to question all that, yeah, and then they move on kepada accepting diversity as temporary until authorities get the truth. Maksud dia untuk melihat kalau nak kata benda ni grey, dan apa evidence dia, and they start to question that. The inquiry becomes a bit more complex lepas tu, yeah. So it's not just macam okay, ini true and false. Kalau dia bukan true, bukan false, dia dekat tengah, and then how do we know it's kat tengah? What evidences can we use in order to determine that it's somewhere in between? And the fourth one, where they start to accept that people have their own right to opinions. Kadang-kadang ini yang susah, ya, kepada some pelajar. Kalau kita minta dia buat dalam group work, for instance, and then students yang maybe lebih dominant akan menguasai the perbincangan. Lepas tu opinion orang lain tak nak dengar, opinion dia sendiri je dengar. So tapi bila kita minta pelajar ni go through the process of nurturing their own knowledge, we want them to own the knowledge, and to be able to do that, they need to be able to talk about it, they need to be able to to write about it, to design it. What do you say, what do you mean by beautiful? Macam what Mervin said tadi, what do you mean by beautiful? Beautiful to you may not be beautiful to me, katakanlah, example lah kan. I'm I'm not in your field, but I'm just trying to break it down. So who gets to say what is beautiful and what is not? The same thing is, who gets to say, those of you who are in creative arts, who gets to say what is creative and what is not? To me, I've spent 10 hours on it. Of course, I say it's creative. So that is ultimately looking at the product layer. Tapi what we want the students to be able to be able to do is not just create the product, but rather to talk about it, to have an opinion, to have a position about what they are writing, what they are creating for us in the projects and stuff like that. And it takes time for them to do that. The fifth one, students accept that certain course authorities are not asking for right and wrong answers, but for thought. For thought, which means that if you have a position about something, what is it that you want to put forward, sebagai your rationale to whatever that you agree or disagree. And essentially ni macam kita buat literature review lah. When we're doing literature review, you don't want to just summarize orang lain punya studies. You want to have a position, and you use orang lain punya studies to support your position. So that is where we want students to start pushing the way that they're thinking. So it's not just macam jawab MCQ 1, 2, 3, that kind of thing. Number 6, students see all knowledge is contextually relative. This is where they become a bit more mature lah, obviously, where they know what is beautiful in Holland may not be beautiful in Sabak Bernam. What is beautiful in England may not be beautiful in Cuba, for instance. So how do you determine that? Because it's all contextually related, isn't it? And it's apa nama, that understanding of apa nama, there are other aspects that we need to think about when we come to a certain position about things, in what we believe in. Number 7, students see the need to form personal commitment within an uncertain world. So if you believe in something, how do you show that you believe in something? How do you profess to say that you believe it? What are the things that you would include as your evidence of, to show that your belief is actually worthwhile, or of a certain value, or all that. So again, it's all maturity, maturity in the way that they're thinking. Number 8, making commitments, making commitments based on what they believe. Kalau dia tak believe in the first place, memang tak adalah nak sampai kepada commitment. Number 9, accepting that making, revising, pulling apart, and creating new commitments in an unfolding and ongoing process. This one obviously is a very high level thinking yang mana, you know, dia apa tu, dia akan challenge lah all the things yang they know, and to be able to want to create you know, new ideas, new knowledge. Hopefully dalam PhD lah katakanlah yang mana kita memang kena cari new knowledge kan, in order to embody what is called a thesis. So yeah, so that's why it's that maturity level, I guess, in some sense, yeah, in the way students are thinking. So where are we pushing our students? Yeah, kalau you tengok the 9 levels ni, where is it that you're pushing your students? How do you see the evidences of them doing what level of sort of understanding of the learning that they get from you? Okay, any thoughts? Guys, are you all there? I know it's raining.
Yes.
Line tak elok lagi ke? So,
You can type kalau line tak elok. Yong, which one is it that you want me to explain? Is it this one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this again relates to that earlier graph, yeah. It all points towards the level of what we say to be acceptable. You know, that we know the learning has happened, and it enables the students to produce what we feel is a representation of a fair representation of their understanding. So in order to get to here, it starts with this bits here about student characteristics. You know, what they've learned before, their own, you know, self-esteem, confidence, abilities, motivation, all that, yeah, and what experiences they've gone through, and obviously all this is going to inspire or even apa stop them actually, yeah, challenge them in order to be immersed in the current learning experience. So the conceptions of knowledge and learning, this was the one that we broke down earlier, yeah. Knowing all that, knowing the gaps, knowing the different ways as to how people approach learning, this affects the way that we decide our instruction, yeah. I think next week you guys will be meeting Shaziti, and then she's going to be talking about instructional design. How do you design instruction to make it you know, in a flow that will match what your students need, yeah, in your lessons. And obviously from there you're looking at, you know, how teaching and learn the environment of that classroom, yeah, that teaching learning environment. Are you um are you giving out signals or vibes to see that the teaching learning is actually um positive? Is it scary? Is it something which is terlalu challenging? Yeah, in that students feel that, you know, they don't want to say anything, they feel threatened, they don't feel that they are ready, they don't feel that, you know, it's encouraging, for instance, you know, all that affects, yeah. And their own approaches to the way that they learn. This is what I was talking about tadi, the skills to learn. Yeah, some students are struggling with this because they don't know how to learn. Yeah, so obviously that all this affects the quality of that learning. Yeah, jadi kalau macam tak tahu nak belajar, macam mana kita nak expect that dia boleh perform, sebab dia memang perhaps tak tahu nak read something, for instance, nak baca, and also to extract key ideas. Yeah. The constructive alignment is needed in this bits. This is the one that we control as lecturers. Yeah. This bawah ni, yang atas ni semua pelajar, yang atas ni semua pelajar, yang kat bawah ni adalah kita. How the course content is selected, how is it organized, how is it presented, how is it assessed. Yeah, so these are the things that I think Colin has talked and Dr. Siti Mariam has talked about in their lectures. How do you make sure that the content that we choose is actually suitable for the level that the students are learning at, and also the amount of time that they have, yeah, and the quality that is articulated in your curriculum. So that's reason why you need to see what other people are teaching as well. So it's healthy to have conversations, yeah, with your faculty mates, just to know what other people are doing, particularly kalau mengajar the same batch, the same year, for instance. Have a periodical conversation, yeah, at your faculty, and talk about them. Ada some faculties is a bit difficult to carry out. I know this for a fact, especially kalau macam orang yang dah lama mengajar the same course over and over again, and they feel that they're quite territorial, and that dia tak nak share with you what they do and stuff like that. Jadi cubalah cubalah cari strategize, yeah, strategize how you want to approach all this. Sometimes what I do is I guess I'm already a senior in the faculty, so there are some junior lecturers yang mungkin tak nak bercakap dengan saya simply because I don't know, mungkin age gap lah, yeah, age gap and also experience gap yang memang obvious, yeah. Tapi the ones that I feel need a little bit more bimbingan, I would call them, and then I would have interactions with them, casual interactions in the office, sometimes just coffee, and saya ada juga yang saya bawa untuk buat proposal. Jadi from there saya dapat faham, the kind of things that they are doing in their own classes, because there are a lot of people are struggling, and then kadang-kadang it's very difficult for them to talk about their struggles, yeah, unless if we create the opportunity for them to share what they are going through. It's not like trying to be kepochi lah, tapi for the sake of your own students, because we're teaching the same set of students, yeah. Jadi it's good to know what other people are doing so that we are prepared. Yeah, so going back to this, how the teaching learning environment is designed and implemented, how do we prepare the class itself, how do we make sure that people are actually aware of the conditions, the climate of the class lah, yeah, the climate of the class, whether it's positive or negative or challenging and what have you. The tengah bit here is about what students are expected to learn, yeah, and to understand. Jadi we need to articulate what we want them to be able to do. Itu yang I told Mervin tadi, mungkin the weaker students would need a different motivation. The high capability sort of students would probably need a different set of how you can interact with them, yeah. And di bawah ni ialah more on the external factors around us that may affect the way that we conduct ataupun we make decisions in the way that we teach, like influences of the academic committee, our subject knowledge and pedagogical beliefs, yeah, and also the influences from the department or faculty. Kadang-kadang they are programs yang mana only diajar oleh 2 orang ataupun 3 orang saja, and then kadang-kadang seorang ni lebih dominant daripada the rest, yeah, and that obviously will affect the climate of the courses, as it is run, because that one person yang dominant akan probably determine whether the environment in which the students are learning in is a positive one ataupun the opposite. Yeah. So be aware of all this. Yeah. Kalau macam katakanlah you know that the program actually needs a certain number of people based on what you found out from other universities, for instance, then start the conversations about hiring more people. Yeah. And getting good people into your program. Start thinking, because it takes time to hire people. Yeah. Macam at our faculty, we've had people retire, we had people who passed away, but they're still not replaced yet. So all these things take time. Yeah. Jadi have good conversations with your faculty management kalau boleh. Yeah, about this. It doesn't mean that you are trying to do their job, tidak, tapi for the sake of the for the faculty, it needs that variation of people. Yeah. So all that akan obviously affect this bit, the quality of learning. So the students kalau dia masuk kepada program yang mungkin everybody is new, everybody doesn't know what they do, what the other person is doing, then it will be experienced by the students. The students will say that I come into X's class and X is talking about the sky, Y is talking about the moon, and Z is talking about the rocks on Earth. So how do you mitigate that kind of confusion? So ini yang, that's why kita kena perlu buat CQI kalau boleh, ya, on our curriculum every year. So yeah, so that's one way lah untuk align. Yeah, the constructive alignment is very important. Okay, does that make sense, Yo Yong? Do you have any?
Yes.
What do you understand? Can you tell me what you understand? Yo Yong, can you tell me what you understand? Or can somebody else help? Doris, perhaps? Doris, are you there? Ezra, are you there?
Betul.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can hear me. Tak tahulah, dah line dah okey belum, but I'm just going to talk lah. So sebenarnya tak faham apa this conceptual framework, sebenarnya banyak sangat to understand. But referring to yang previous kan, that skill, I found it interesting when you mention about skills, about I think I already talk about this in other classes, but saya pernah involved dengan buat paper, again not my paper, tapi it's talking about, I involved a little bit lah, so it was talking about a transfer of knowledge. So I, over the past week, I keep putting in my head that transfer of knowledge is important sebagai lecturer, whatever method it is.
Yeah.
Tapi transfer of skill tu yang agak susah, especially kalau lecturer tak ada skill.
Yes.
Kita masuk PhD pun skill tak semestinya kita ada. Because sometimes we are nak industrial people. Lain lah macam Mervin, macam Wan Suhana, I mean they have involved in industry, the skill set is given, they need to learn there. Macam saya sendiri pun kerja pun setahun je. And then lepas tu dah main dengan game research dah. I haven't played the industrial game for so long.
Yeah.
Tapi there are certain set skill yang academician boleh bagi. Contoh, macam saya, even though I'm not a media kind of person, but I like to do video, I like to do visual graphic. So benda tu boleh ditranslate kepada architecture. But by the end of the day, architect should do presentation board, should do design drawing just to convince the client.
Yeah.
But again, that set skill tu bukan senang nak transfer. Macam apa doktor cakap tadi, dia ada lain-lain cara, lain-lain approach, lain-lain fahaman. So again, is there any possible, I won't say a hardcore ataupun benda yang wajib dibuat untuk skill set to be transferred.
Yeah.
Tapi ada tak cara yang lagi structured generally in order for that transfer of skill can be at least much more efficient. Lebih-lebih lagi online. Online susah lah nak mengajar buat lukisan, nak buat drawing. Dah lah ambil laptop, turunkan kamera dia, lepas tu lukis atas iPad, atas keyboard dia.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. That's a very good question. Not sure how to answer you yet, Raja. But this is the reason why the university also encourages lecturers to go to the industry, midway through your career, in order to get the industry experience that you can translate into your classes. That's also the reason why they came up with this 2U 2I program, yang mana students berada di universiti selama 2 tahun dan another 2 years in the industry. It's a bit difficult when the field is very, it has to be in alignment with what the industry requires, and the lecturers may not have the skills, like what you said, maybe not enough skills untuk translate that into the classes. So talk about this, I think, in a systematic way. Have an honest conversation with your dekan and to see how you guys can actually work hand in hand with the industry. Macam doctors lah, the people who are in the medical science right now, the doctors are having clinical hours as well, and it's embedded in their job scope, because if they don't do the clinical bits, they will forget how to become a doctor. Jadi these are some of the things, these conversations has got to happen, I think, at the faculty. Then the faculty would be able to push this at the university level. Kalau cakap sorang-sorang memang tak jalan tau, Raja. So it has to be something which is concerted lah, I think. Yeah.
Yang saya nampak, doktor, zaman saya belajar architecture, we have this internship. Even though my time has been cut short, previously it's like 6 months, 2 kali, so cukup setahun.
Yeah.
My seniors lah came to our generation, dia dah start 3 bulan, 2 kali, so 6 bulan. So macam okay, still acceptable. But now I'm quite surprised, even the big university yang ada nama dalam architecture pun have cancelled out the internship.
Wow.
And even we are talking about it as well. Sebab apa? The one of the most personally unacceptable reason why this internship has been cancelled out, alasannya adalah susah lah, kita ada berapa orang student, nak cari berapa company, bla bla bla, and then end up dia menyusahkan lecturer. Something like that. Menyusahkan diri sendiri, so kita cancel out the internship. I was thinking about the benefit of internship. Betul, memang susah nak dapat internship, especially masa pandemik hari tu, berapa ramai student yang tak lepas-lepas sebabkan internship tak pergi.
Yeah.
And then end up kita campak dekat pembangunan punya unit Unimas, and then we call that as an internship. But outcome dia tu yang penting bagi saya, sebab without industrial involvement, budak betul-betul pergi company, they won't know how to use AutoCAD software efficiently. Betul, di universiti kita dah ajar, but how much can we give? And given that we have not been involved in industrial for so long, we don't know what are the actual things required. Sebab tu setiap kali kalau sebab saya ada mengajar kelas sekali dengan Mervin, tapi kebanyakannya Mervin yang pegang. Saya macam pergi tunjuk muka, hi bye bye je. Sorry Mervin. but the reason why I act like that, because I know there are so many things that I can't teach the student. Mervin pula ajar magic drawing, pergi ke church lama, pergi ke bangunan lama, ukur and then reproduce komputer punya model kan.
Yes.
So I can't show to the students that.
Yes.
I know how to do it, tapi Mervin lagi boleh tuju in detail. Jadi sebab tu saya tak nak usik sangat kelas Mervin.
Mhm.
And from what I see, benda tu boleh replace internship, but how many industrial people that we have in academy? Last nak cari yang doctorate. Last nak cari yang, not to argue.
Yes.
Tapi we have, by the end of the day, we need industrial people to come and support us. And academic pun kena support industry. Ni
Betul.
tak balik-balik gaduh. Industri tunding jari dekat education, education tunding jari dekat industri. And it's been happening for so long. And
Yeah.
on my opinion lah kan, kalau kita nak debate or argue about this skill set, industrial, economy, macam-macam lah.
Yeah.
But it's good to talk about it, I guess.
Yeah, I think it needs to escalate dekat your faculty level, and then I'm sure your dean is also part of majlis dekan-dekan in the bidang itself, and she can escalate it there. But this has got to be done, like what I said, it has to be done in a concerted effort lah. Dia tak boleh macam seorang-seorang je menjerit. Nanti penat nanti Raja. It's not beneficial for yourself as well. Tapi I understand the need for the skill set, and as I mentioned tadi, macam dekat engineering, macam that's why people dekat engineering go out and get their IRs, because they have to be attached to the industry for X number of months and years. Medical punya lecturers are doing the same. They have clinics. Kalau they don't have it, memang rata-rata kalau you ask them, kalau tak ada clinical hours, they forget how to become a doctor, and then we don't want that, and then they are teaching our future doctors. Same thing lah. Jadi I think probably the way that it has to be brought up lah has got to be a bit more formal, and not just dekat faculty level, and then make sure it goes up further lah. I'm sure kalau dibentangkan dengan baik, I think the university can support. Tak ada masalah tu. Tak tahulah. Saya bukan VC, kena tanya VC lah. So yeah.
Doktor yang tu kita bagi orang-orang atasan yang dah otai lah selesai kan. Siapalah kita untuk
awak tanya saya ni kuli je. So okay, Hafiz has a question. Hi Hafiz.
Dr. Fitri, I have a question.
Yeah, you have a
Tapi
very long
saya
question.
cakap cepat sebab line saya tak mic saya tak bagus. I need to use my phone instead of using my computer. I didn't know why. Alright.
Yeah.
Can you move back to the previous slide, Dr. Fitri, if you allow me to? Yang tadi yang pasal constructive alignment tu.
This one.
Yeah, this one. Okay. So I completely I mean I'm so happy to see this what they call a slide, which is the conceptual framework. Perhaps a little bit tricky lah, macam apa Raja cakap kan, dekat atas tu ada student punya part, dekat bawah tu ada our part lah as the instructors. I guess my question to Fitri, saya pakai dua cap lah, satu cap sebagai pensyarah, satu cap sebagai orang yang jaga polisi ni. Betul, ideally it is good to have a constructive alignment from time to time depending on our students' performance, their progress, perhaps their special need for that particular learning unit, and etc. Then sepatutnya kita boleh buat lah constructive alignment tu based on things that I mentioned just now. But our system kan ada program standardnya, ada boardnya, kemudian ada certain assessment that we need to follow and etc. Which is not allow us to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more I would say flexible or dynamic in terms of our teaching, learning activities and assessment, so forth, etc. So my question to you, to Fitri, orang akan call, okay, PPA dia akan call, boleh tak saya nak ubah course plan XYZ? So saya akan kata sepatutnya boleh, tapi course plan ni kan dah hantar macam tu. So which is not allowed them to be creative, to be flexible in terms of their own teaching. Even though the assessment, Dr. Fitri, sebab what I seen bila first midterm kan, first assignment when the instructors has detailed out the assignment together with rubric etc. And then they started to mark what they call the assignment. Kemudian the result is not as what been expected lah. Jadi mereka instructor dia macam okay, why not we change here and there, macam tu contoh. But due to this restriction dia tak boleh ubah. So macam mana we try to be flexible in the same time yang kita boleh ikut conceptual framework ni supaya kita boleh balance lah. This is what the students need. This is apa yang the instructors can do, especially in doing the constructive alignment. Macam mana kita nak buat benda ni? Macam tu. Itu soalan saya.
Okay. Jawapan dia plan awal.
Tapi kita tak tahu student waktu tu.
Tak. Jawapan dia plan awal sebab when you get a course or you know when your course is going to be coming on, you already embed the most minimal yang you boleh nyatakan dalam sistem. You know, don't trap yourself in a way that kata daripada mula-mula you akan buat alternative assessment, you know, and lepas tu tak tahu apa nak buat.
Betul.
You know what I mean?
Betul. Yes, yes.
I don't agree, to be honest with you, Hafiz. I don't agree with yang all this alternative assessment and what have you.
Yeah.
The term has been pushed around, but nobody actually has glossary and also macam a guidance tau, like how exactly to do it.
Exactly. Even though it's not reflect, but they still call as alternative assessment. Contoh lah. Okay, faham.
Jadi faculties menggunakan benda tu sebagai kalau you tak tick you know the kotak tu it means that you tak weighted.
Betul. That's what I mean. That's what I mean by the restriction from Victory.
Yeah. To me, just go dalam kalau course plan lah. You have seen my course plan. My course plan is very minimal. Saya tak menunjukkan apa-apa sangat pun dalam kelas tu yang saya kata saya akan buat ni tu. No, I don't do that because I know that it will change once we have the interactions with the students. The course plan is only a guide. The course plan should not dictate what we do every single week in the class. You know, it should at least macam okay lah, macam katakanlah kita nak buat assessment 60% is formative, 40% is exam. So exam you dah bagi siap-siap kata 2020 lah midterm dengan final. Your assessment is 60, so you want to have two big assignments, for instance 30% and 30%. So just bagi the minimal that you can do for the first assignment, second assignment. Maksudnya mungkin you nak cari part A, part B, tapi janganlah describe exactly apa you nak buat. You know what I mean? So bila you
faham.
Bila you actually buat assessment, bila dah jumpa students and you go like, oh, students ni actually is much better than the last cohort. I can I can do more with these students. Jadi mungkin you nak put together yang part A, part B tadi. So put it together to become 30% solid tau. So tapi bila you letak markah dalam your e-markah tu, you bagilah 2. Tak ada masalah, tak ada orang akan check punya. Pandai je I. Tapi tak ada orang check lah. So you know what I mean? So it's like you manipulate it in a way that it is enough to show that you are addressing the CLOs. Yang penting dalam course plan tu ialah
betul.
You address CLO dengan your activity, dengan your assessment.
Betul.
So those yang ada ikut saya untuk 5024, we talked about this, the performance of understanding. So go minimal. Jangan detail sangat. This is where you catch yourself. Jangan ada juga yang saya tengok isi memang exactly soalan assignment letak dalam e-markah. Janganlah.
Dalam course plan sebab e-markah tu dia generate dari situ kan. Right. So I guess that's the what you call the very I would say real authentic situation that currently happening here lah, Dr. Fitri. Because since I'm taking care of this my mark kan, and the course plan for me, to be honest, I completely agree with you. It's kind of restricted you to plan ahead. You get what I mean? So because you need to declare everything at the very first week of the semester. Even though the question pun you kena tick, you nak buat question tu ikut case based ke, you nak kan. So and I guess during the first second week, we as an instructor, even though we are very familiar with the course, we are still I would say test the water with the new students, with the new cohort of the student. And we are not sure about everything, but yet our system that we are currently using here are not allowed us to do the what they call the alignments from time to time, or perhaps kalau tak time to time pun mungkin boleh buat apa term satu ke term tengah ke term hujung, but yeah, the system unfortunately not support that. That's the thing yang saya nampak lah, Dr. Fitri.
Yeah. Tapi I think what you can do, Hafiz, because you're still there, apa nama, to come up with a proper glossary lah, and also, you know, guidance so that people understand what it means, you know, all these alternative assessments ni bukan saja untuk tick the boxes, you know.
Betul.
Set up a task force lah to do that, and I nak tunggu MQA is not going to do it for us. So
Faham. Okay, alright. Okay, thank you, Dr. Fitri. Okay, that's it from me.
Okay, thanks. Lagi soalan? Lagi yang nak tambah? Unika, you're quiet today, Unika.
Hai, Doktor.
Hai.
Tengah bending dengan assignment lain, lepas tu macam
Banyak sangat ya?
Overwhelmed. Apa tu? Great sharing today. Banyak yang belajar ni. Cumanya sebab bila baru ni macam so many things tengah absorb, tengah cuba memahami. But then I for my experience, macam ada satu kelas ni foundation engineering. Saya ajar calculation. But then because the calculation was on Friday and then midterm on Monday. Last week. Macam maksudnya baru je kelas saya, dah lah saya buat recording sebab saya pergi kursusan cuti belajar tu. And then hari Isnin depannya tu, hari Isnin depannya diorang dah midterm. So actually I just twist the question sikit je tau. Macam masa saya ajar soalan tu panjang. And then bila saya bagi exam question, it was just like simpler version. Tapi the student dia tak, saya rasa tak faham. Macam most of the student, macam they assume value yang saya tak bagi tu, dia assume value tu. Padahal sepatutnya tak payah pakai pun value tu. So meaning macam saya tak tahulah, mungkin dia tak faham masa saya ajar because yelah saya ajar recording. Saya sebab masa tu tak boleh. So yelah calculation and you record, macam dia mungkin tak boleh nak tanya, and then it was like so short. Tiba-tiba dah midterm, so I was frustrated sebenarnya sebab rasa bersalah dengan student tu, macam alamak macam mana macam rasa macam tak tahulah, saya macam so far I see saya ada 130 students, maybe macam half of them answer it wrongly. Saya rasa macam saya belum jumpa, setakat yang saya buka-buka tu macam saya belum jumpa yang jawab betul. Macam mana macam what should I do, macam
di apa nama, whatever that we're learning, we need time to digest kan. Bukan semua orang dapat bila ajar sekali terus ingat and terus faham automatically. Tak ramai dapat. Apa tu sama juga macam students. Jadi what you can do is to arrange for another assessment, apa nama, maybe in the next 2 weeks 3 weeks down the road. Jadi apa nama, then the students would have a bit more time to think about what they have learned. Jadi it's a bit unfair jugalah kalau baru belajar lepas tu terus tanya. I think that's why you're going to get frustrated as well. If you want to use the second assessment sebagai your markah, nanti you bagi tahu students lah. Tapi be fair, tengok dulu apa nama, the first set of the assessment. Tengok berapa ramai yang actually fail, and then that can be used sebagai your rationale to tell your program coordinator to say that I cannot use these marks because it's too low. Maybe I'm going to run another one just to be fair for the students, and that they will have more time to really comprehend apa yang patut dia orang comprehend lah from the topics. I would do that lah. I wouldn't ambil first
Yeah,
Distance
itulah
and
sebab
space.
terlalu singkat, and then saya tak rasa student they don't understand and they don't grab pun
Yeah.
macam rasanya calculation tu, and then dia macam tu yang end up semua orang pun assume value tu yang macam kelakar pula saya rasa. And then saya nak tambah sikit yang macam pasal Raja cakap tadi, because I also come from the industry, saya engineering kan, so maybe one of the thing that we can do, sebab I have macam bila saya tanya kawan-kawan saya di industri, macam lots of them they are willing to sebenarnya dia orang selalu cakap, Unika bila nak ajar masuk kelas, dia orang nak mengajar tau, and they are willing to do it for free.
Right.
Macam so macam dia orang because they also want to write that in their SKT.
Yeah.
So what we can do maybe macam kalau ada kawan-kawan daripada industri, macam bagilah dia orang macam satu slot, macam berapa jam kelas kita tu bagi, and then so that student kan macam akan lebih bersemangat bila they are connected with the industry people, and maybe from there macam kita boleh increase lah macam dari segi skills ke, dari segi apa-apalah yang kita nak. I think that one can be done.
Yes, boleh. That one memang is encouraged lah. And you can also use that to profile your own your own course as well. Just a bit of a caution, selalunya macam dekat industri the way that they operate is not the same macam dekat university, because they're not looking at macam penilaian pelajar, they're not looking at macam kita lah kena ada a tangible markah. They don't have that kan. Jadi mungkin dia punya sharing tu adalah berdasarkan apa yang they have gone through, and they want to make sure that other people also understand the way that they they do things. Jadi all well and good, tapi make sure permulaan lecture tu dengan penghujung lecture yang summary and what not tu you buat.
Okay.
You faham maksud saya? So jangan lepas kepada orang outsider macam tu saja. Don't ever do that. I've seen people do that tau. Tapi jangan, try not to, sebab when that happens, students yang confused. Jadi kalau students yang bright tak apa, kalau your majority is the one yang you know I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So kena you come in the beginning, and then dekat ujung nak summarize tu you buat balik.
Okay.
So your presence is always there. So you are still the authority in the topic.
Alright. Sure. Thank you for the tips.
No
Sebab
problem.
kawan saya dah bersusun.
Ya, bagus.
Saya tanya, yes, okay.
Yeah, bagus. It's this is also something that others can also pick up. Enlarge your networks, introduce yourselves to people who are experts in your fields. Jangan malu. I know those of you yang baru nak apply, nak pergi cuti belajar ni, kembang-kembangkanlah your network. Because you're going to use them. You mark my words, you're going to use them nanti. They will be useful at some point in your career. Jadi be nice to people will be nice back to you. Yeah. So yeah, it's good to have variety dalam your lecture.
In fact the people in the industry actually pun macam dia macam dia orang sangat suka sebenarnya kalau macam ada lecturer university yang approach. It's just that they don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
But they are waiting.
Yeah.
Macam saya dulu lah masa saya kerja, saya suka je kalau macam UTM ke datang, UKM ke, UM ke datang office kan, macam nak buat collaboration ke whatsoever. We are happy. So we have the data and all. It's just that we don't have time to think. For the research ke nak apa ke tak sempat. Macam tu. So
betul.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you Unika. Ada lagi nak tanya? Mana Rashidan ya? Rashid, are you here?
Ada, Doktor.
Ada, okay. Hi. You're quiet today. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, Doctor.
Okay. Is it all okay ka? Is it clear ka?
It's quite everything's for me to understand it lah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. I know. It's a lot. I mean, take time to digest it dulu.
Yeah.
because the snapshot to all this is just, I just want you to understand there are many levels to go through in order to reach your peak lah dalam an academic career. Particularly yang tadi lah yang saya tunjuk, this one, yeah. So in to achieve this bit yang mana your knowledge to becomes you, your knowledge to becomes what you are, yeah. There's all this that we need to get through, and our students pun, we have different people who are coming from different entry points, and how do we address them, you know, and nanti macam, you know, you're going to be at my age at some point, inshallah, you know, and 20 years down the road, you go look at, you know, what you've done, and then to see whether your students are doing, you know, much better than you are, and that's when you know that you have been successful, you know. So all these things adalah dia accumulative lah, dia accumulative. And I think I always believe that bila kita mengajar, bila kita always put our niat that we want our students to, you know, to become better than us, it will translate into the way that we do things with our students. Maybe bukan semua kita boleh tolong, tak apa, you know, don't beat yourself up. Kalau, you know, tak semua students boleh ikut, tak apa, tak ada masalah. Kadang-kadang it's not your fault pun. There are students who have to battle for things that we don't understand, you know, things that kita tak tahu, you know. Tapi in your class, you know, in your sessions, let them feel that they are safe, you know, let them feel that they are motivated, you know, and you are listening to them, and that you are, you know, open to want to help them. So itulah yang I think will sort of, you know, help nurture the curiosity for the ilmu that you're trying to teach them. So yeah. Okay, so kalau sekejap ya, let me pull out the because this is the ELIP right now. If you go to ELIP, the paper that I used to come up with the slides is here, the first one, and whistle. Yeah, so the conceptual frameworks tadi yang 2 page tu, it's actually from here. So Azani, you were asking for the paper. It's actually here, yeah, the conceptions about learning and knowledge. And this is your assignment. This assignment is group work, yeah. So you need to find people, and in a team of 3 to 4, you're going to build a 3D model among you, and that I want you to show me what you understand so far of what you've listened to and what we have discussed today about that critical metrics of teaching and learning, you know, about the gaps, about how we can bridge that gap based on where we are in our academic career, yeah, based on what you understand about knowledge and understanding. So there's no right or wrong answer, yeah. I'm not looking for perfect model. It doesn't have to be accurate, yeah. So Mervin and kawan-kawan dekat FAB, jangan start buat AutoCAD untuk saya, ya. So I'm just looking for you know, something that you build pakai, you know, pen or paper, whatever you have, objects it around your house. Could be one person buat ke, and then everybody else chip in, you know, while that one person doing it. Boleh juga pakai Lego pun boleh. Saya suka Lego sebab there's a lot in the game lab, but if you don't have it, it's okay. You can buat apa-apa. Apa nama, and let's see, yeah, how do you create it? You can use anything you want, stationery or any objects, as long as, you know, you just be creative lah, apa-apa yang ada lah, ya. And then explain the gaps and also your group thoughts about how you would address these gaps in teaching and learning, yeah. And you will present this model in a 3-minute video, and then the Flipgrid is here, the link, yeah. And then once you've done that, I want you to take a photo of the 3D model. Yeah, so you have three things. Yeah, satu is the video to explain the 3D model, and then one is a photo of the model itself, and then another one is just one short paragraph. Jangan panjang. One short paragraph is like maybe 150 to 200 words. One short paragraph, bukan one long essay, one short paragraph. And then all three of that dengan link Flipgrid tu you akan hantar dekat dalam Elite. Yeah, so I'm giving about 2 weeks for you to work on this. And yeah, is that enough time? 12 December, that's next week. Yeah, next week. Do you want another week? Do you want me to extend to another week?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, okay, I'll extend it to another week then. So yeah, that's the idea. So you just need to find a group of maybe 3-4 people maximum, and then have a discussion online or something. Maybe one person to do the model, and you guys discuss it, and then one person to take a photo of that model, and then one person to just write about it. And make sure semua nama team members ada lah dalam your submission nanti. Boleh? So it's just a practice to articulate about the gaps in teaching and learning. All right, so deadline 19 December. Is that all right, guys? Let's change it here.
Okay, doctor.
Okay, 19 December. This one I'll change later.
Dr. Fitri, just want to ask, we are explaining the gaps only, is it? Do we need to do a solution on the issues or how to resolve it?
This one here. How you would address them.
Oh, how we express, okay.
Yeah, so you can talk about it. It doesn't have to appear in the model itself. I leave it to you lah. Yeah, so just don't waste time to do AutoCAD on me. That's all. Natasha, you guys kenal Natasha? Natasha Wong, Natasha Rusdi Wong from FSGP?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, doctor.
She made a lovely model last year. I don't have it with me right now. It's in the old Elite. But she came up with it in like less than an hour. She's so creative, and she talked about all the different objects that she put together, and then what you call it, and it shows lah the gaps, and then she narrated over the video like what it meant to her. So all the different bits that she was putting together, she explained it. She had an explanation to all of that. So last year it was an individual work, so they were not doing it in groups, but I kesian dekat you all, so that's why saya bagi group work for this batch. I know that you must be overwhelmed right now with so many other stuff, so yeah, hopefully that will alleviate a little bit lah. Boleh ke, guys?
Boleh, nampak.
Okay. So
I
19.
promise nothing. Saya akan try. Kalau lambat, minta maaf. Lambat tu kita negotiate kemudian kan? Tak, bukan ada je assignment yang lain macam, oh ada assignment tertinggal So yeah. So sebelum ni cakap boleh, and then I realize, oh I cannot. So I promise nothing lah. But I will submit. I will try my best. So untuk mendahului percakapan ini, saya ingin memohon maaf jika lambat submit nantilah.
Saya kan kejar tau.
Oh please kejar. Saya jenis kena kejar bab-bab macam ni. Sebab lupa.
You're not as old as me. You cannot lupa.
You have no idea, doktor. Saya dah pergi macam ni, dah macam-macam try buat list tak jalan, letak dalam kalender tak jalan. I have no idea how else I can handle this. Banyak sangat kerja lah, doktor.
Faham.
I mean we are small faculty. I think Mervin, Sohana pun understand, especially Sohana. We've involved in so many projects semua kan macam tak terkejar-kejar. And then sedar-sedar je dah macam, alamak dah Jumaat. And then Jumaat tu lah ada kelas, Jumaat tu lah, you know. So again, minta maaf kalau lambat. Saya akan cuba sedaya upaya. Kami akan cuba sedaya
Jangan kaitkan saya ya Dr. Raja.
Tapi itulah, terima kasih Sohana projek hari tu.
We do what we can. As long as you don't give up on me, that's all. Yeah?
We never give up on you, Doctor. Don't worry.
All right. Is there anything else that you guys want to ask?
So far, okay, boleh. Try. Doktor tak tahu.
Cuba dulu tak? Okay, so kalau tak ada, I think we'll just end it here. I know it's Sunday, kesian you all. I'm so sorry about today. I'm also overwhelmed, Raja. It's not just you. Saya pun tak ada weekend. Yeah, and kerja pula lambat macam-macam. And it's coming from all directions. Totally understand, you know, but we do what we can lah. Kalau tak boleh sangat, the deadline you let me know. Yeah, I am going to chase you because I need to give marks, but also be reasonable lah to me so that saya boleh adjust my time untuk hantar markah and whatnot. Yeah. So itu je lah.
Tapi kalau doktor dengar kata macam dekan kita orang pun terpaksa ambil cuti untuk siapkan PGD. So most probably we will do that as well. Yalah, faham. Doktor sendiri pun of course have things to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Your dekan was in my class.
Oh, she's very enthusiastic. I don't know how can she keep up. She's very. Dah habis PGD pun macam, apa lagi nak buat macam what?
Yeah, she's got a lot of energy. Yeah, we do what we can lah. And I always think that if you know, because if you're talented and people see that you have value, people will always come back to you, you know, and ask you to do things. Jadi never lose sight of, you know, your expertise in your subject matter. Yeah, because that is what your identity is going to grow into, and people will refer to you because of what you know and what you're good at. And you know, you want to be that all the time. That's why busy. Kalau tak ada benda tu, remember I told you, I think in the first class kita jumpa hari tu, you know, you always bring something to the table. If you have nothing to bring to the table, then tak payahlah. You know, so yeah.